Hey everybody, welcome on back. It's the Rubbin is Racing podcast starring Spider, who is right next to me. I'm in the Chicago office and I'm happy to be here. So I'm sitting right next to Spider. Moonhead's in a remote location. Jacob's going to be joining in a couple of minutes. He's putting out some fires elsewhere in the building. And Quiggs may or may not come in too. So this is going to be the last full episode of the season because we are done. We are approaching the final race at Phoenix, so we'll do some sort of commentary on the results next week at some time. Whether it lives on social or lives as a podcast remains to be seen. But just to give our sponsors, like a ultimate type thing, this is the last full episode of the season. So we're glad to have you in it. A long season, but we're really glad you guys had stuck around. And this episode, as usual, is brought to you by BODYARMOR FLASH I.V. Flash IV delivers faster, longer-lasting hydration with over 2,000 milligrams of electrolytes and no artificial dyes, flavors, or sweeteners like those other drinks. So whether you're training, traveling, or just feeling the heat, work hard. I'm here in the Chicago office, as I had mentioned. The All Blacks are here.
The rugby team.
Team are here. These guys, they walk by, they are big boys. I mean, a big, thick-wristed ass kickers, and they all grabbed the BODYARMOR Flash IV from the fridge as soon as they saw it.
They know what they're doing.
Yeah, so Hydrate Hard with BODYARMOR Flash IV. Grab yours today at your local 7-Eleven convenience store. And before we want to get going, since this is the last race of the year, it's time to start thinking Daytona. Don't just watch history, be part of it. Grab your tickets now for the 2026 Daytona 500 and experience the speed, the sound, and the spectacle all live. Seats sell out every year, so secure your spot today. Buy your tickets at Nascar.com. And also consider staying through Monday because we know that Daytona can get a little bit rainy, so sometimes we'll get some delays or possibly some postponements. We'll be there again next year. I think we're staying at the Daytona Grand, no big deal. So try to set all that stuff up as early as you guys can because it's a great race and a good thing to take the family to and whatnot. Tickets are on sale now. Don't miss the 2026 Daytona 500. Lock in your seats today at NASCAR.com before they're gone. All right, so we just got through with Martinsville. Great race. I mean, a real coming out party for William Byron. Would you guys agree that if William Byron, I don't know, I feel like William Byron became a man on Sunday. Is that weird to say? It was what I think is his most dominant performance, and he's got a bunch of them. But this is when it fucking counted.
Yeah.
Counted the most. It's tough to say that a two-time Daytona 500 winner had his best race at Martinsville, but I think it's one of those ones where he made a move at the end, which was aggressive, maybe more aggressive than we would have seen from William beforehand. And I think just beating the shit out of everybody from qualifying through every stage and then taking the checkered is as impressive of a when he needed to win to get in. That's as impressive of a performance that I've seen in William Byron in the past 5 years of watching him. Is that fair to say?
I would agree. I mean, you look at right now and with this current format, there is pressure. There's certain points where you're expected to perform. We've seen Corey Haim, and he goes on and says all you got to do is bring a fast car to Phoenix and you can win. Well, part of me feels like you have to deliver at these clutch points. We've seen drivers do it. We've seen drivers not do it. But William Byron, to me, has answered every concern I had about him. Late in the season, getting a win. On pit road, he was flawless. You mentioned Large. He was great in qualifying. And down the stretch, I think he executed this race phenomenally. Down to the pass on Blaney. Sure, it was a little aggressive, but he did it perfectly. He used his car, and he got by him, and I'm not sure he would have been able to do it otherwise. And he ultimately got the win. And then you also hear the post-race, and Blaney even tips his cap and says, you know what, I would do the same thing. I can't knock Byron for doing that to get into the championship. So, yeah, I think Byron answered all across the board. He delivered across the board on a lot of different factors that went into it. And I think if you're a William Byron fan, you should be really encouraged right now because he's hot at the right time.
I never took a future on him. I never took a future on William Byron. I didn't consider taking a future on him at all. But I don't know. I think my outlook on that young man has changed. Since watching what he had just done. I'm looking at our championship 4, and every one of us, you had Byron in the championship 4, Quiggs, Moonhead. I'm the only one that didn't. I had Bell,
Idiot.
Blaney, Larson, and Denny. Like, that's what I had. So my championship 4 is obviously pretty blown up. But I'm telling you, I think everything has changed.
Let's look at those quick. So you got 50%. You have Bell and Blaney are out, but you had Larson and who else?
I have Larson and Denny, so I'm still very much alive.
Okay.
Moonhead had Byron and Denny, so he's still very much alive.
He has
and he
two
also
of
had Logano and Bubba, so they're dead. Quiggs had Blaney, Byron, Denny, and Elliott, so he has Byron and Denny. He's still alive. And then Spider, you had Denny, Blaney, Byron, and Bell. So you have Denny and Byron still alive. Yeah, so
we all have 2 left.
Yeah, so everyone has Denny and Byron still left. I have Denny and Larson still left. So you guys had picked right at the beginning of the season. I'll ask you, Moon, did anything change in your mind seeing William do that this weekend?
I mean, I would say he's definitely moved more towards the favorite category than I would have had him. That was just... you don't see performances that dominant, really, I feel like, in these scenarios very often, and he just went out there and made it happen. So I feel like he's got a lot of momentum going forward. And then on the flip side, you got the Gibbs cars who are fresh off of mechanical failures. And I think Denny, really outside of the races he's won or had a chance to win, he's broke a lot in the playoffs. So I think Gibbs, whether they want to act like it or not, probably have that in the back of their head. So I'd say Byron's probably, in my eyes, the favorite going into this weekend.
The last thing we spoke about Byron before this race was how he didn't deserve to have a 100 rating on NASCAR 25 or whatever the hell it was. But he drove, leading over 300 laps and everything else. Fastest lap. He had fastest lap. Led the most laps, pole winner, and winner of all 3 stages. Again, that was a fucking horse pounding. So maybe he deserves that 100. Maybe he doesn't. We'll get to picking the tires pretty quickly today. I still don't have him on my fucking card, even though I just told you guys that was the type of performance where he could change his name from William to Bill Byron or something. You know what I mean? Try to make it a little bit more.
Bill Byron would rip.
Bill Byron, double B, the killer bees, Bill Byron. Get the fuck out of my way.
Patrick from NASCAR has been calling him Bill Byron for years.
Oh, has he?
Yeah.
Oh, Patrick Morris?
Shout out Patrick.
Yeah, he's my guy.
Yeah.
But let's move backwards before we move forward. Corey Heim wins his 11th. And Lane Riggs gets shut out of the NASCAR Truck Series Championship 4, and people are losing their mind. So Lane Riggs has 3 wins, and right now it's the Championship 4 is Corey Heim, Ty Majeski, and then Honeycutt and Ankrum. So we have Ty Majeski, who's in, the Championship 4 for the 3rd time in 4 seasons. Caden Honeycutt and Tyler Ankrum will be making their first appearances. But the stat about how collectively the Championship 4 has 12 wins between them and 11 of them are with one driver, this is a pivotal time for NASCAR. And Kevin Harvick was quick to say in how disgraceful it will be if Corey Heim does not win in Phoenix. And Ankrum, as you had mentioned before we came on air, Moonhead has won at Phoenix before or runs well there. So there is a chance, right? There's always a fucking chance. Are you guys, how do we feel about this going into it? How do we feel about the potential shitstorm of people who will then start complaining about a playoff system, which, by the way, will no longer exist after Sunday? This thing is changing. We don't know what's going to happen. Chase, I don't think we're going to get a 36, full season points race, or maybe they're just going to expand the playoff system as is. How do you guys feel the world is going to react if Corey Heim takes it versus Corey Heim losing? Is that a fair question to ask?
I think the world's going to burn if he doesn't win. But then again, I feel like it kind of already is. There's already people, this tweet that pointed out the driver standings for the Championship 4 in the truck level went viral in the NASCAR space for just how disgusting it was, to put it kind of in simple terms. So, yeah, I think people are already upset. And if Heim loses, people are going to just be very, very upset. And that's going to be a testament to maybe the fact that this playoff format needs to be overhauled or reevaluated or whatever you want to call it. But at the same time, I think people have the right to be upset already. And I think they're justified because in my mind, it's crazy to me that Lane Riggs is not in the championship 4. He's a guy I've been rooting for all season on the truck level. We spoke to him at Daytona, the first race of the season.
Mm-hmm.
I thought either him or his teammate Chandler would have a great chance to go on and lift the trophy. And with 3 wins, to see him on the outside looking in is disappointing. So I would agree with some of the criticism, to be honest.
What do you think going into this? I can hear what you're saying, Spider, 100%. How do you feel going into the truck race tonight, Moonhead?
To me, I just hate that there's such a distraction with the format. You know, I don't want to hate the player. Like, I hate the game, or I hate the format, but at the end of the day, like, this is what we've got. Like, I hate to backtrack and be that guy, but you know, at the end of the day, like last year, like you said, Majeski won Phoenix last year. Ankrum's the only other guy out of the 4 other than Heim that's got to win this year.
Majeski won Phoenix. I'm sorry. I fucked that up. I apologize.
It could, to me, it's going to be a disaster if anybody but Heim wins. But at the end of the day, I mean, that's part of it. And I feel like there's a very, very good chance that happens. But I agree with everything Kevin Harvick said. I think that this is the scenario that I feel like everybody's kind of feared with this format, where a guy just absolutely dominates the season and then goes into Phoenix and is just one stupid thing. I mean, he could literally, someone else could blow a motor in front of him while he's lapping them, and he could, you know, get in the oil and wreck, and that could be his championship. So, and we've got the same thing to a lesser extent in Xfinity.
I think it's a totally different. I'm glad you bring that up. I think it's a totally different situation in Xfinity. Like, I'm very much hoping that Heim wins. I think the gentleman deserves a championship, and I think, you know, for having such a historical, then maybe 12-win season if he wins outright, but at least win the championship. I think that would just shut everybody up, and we don't have to even talk about it. If it doesn't happen, I'm prepared for all the fucking backlash, and we can talk about that if you guys want to. But I think Justin Allgaier beating Connor Zilic in Phoenix is not as big of a deal at all. Like,
no doubt.
You know, and part of it is because Justin Allgaier is so fucking likable. He's got no blemishes on him. Like, everyone kind of loves Justin. He's got 3 wins this season. You know, it's not like he's just kind of, you know, some guy who got in without the correct accolades. So I think it's a little bit different. As much as I love Connor Zilic, yeah, I'm a simp for Connor Zilic, I don't think that that's going to make the world burn the way that fucking Corey Heim will make the world burn
no doubt.
if he doesn't win it. That's kind of common knowledge then, right?
I would, and even you could make the argument with Zilic. He missed a race in the regular season too. So, like, you know, the purists would argue that he probably shouldn't even have a shot anyway. I think, though, when you look at I think Jesse Love or Carson Kvapil, especially Kvapil, nothing against Kvapil. I'd love to see a Carson Kvapil Xfinity championship, but if he wins the championship, it's not really, to me, going to feel like he has not had a championship season. No disrespect to him or his team, but I just, once again, I don't think that would go over well either. But you're exactly right. I think the truck one, I mean, if anybody but Heim wins, it's an absolute crime, but I'm not going to put it on those dry. I'm not going to, you know, I think Ankrum, I don't know if you saw Ankrum's interview, but he said that all he cares about, his contract is performance based, so he cares about going and winning a championship and riding off in a new Corvette, and I think that's a good attitude to have. Right. So,
and I think, like, Joey's had that attitude, and I don't think that Ankrum should have that stigma. Oh, what did you? Oh, I won the Truck Series in 2025. But did you? Like, oh, that was the Heim year, right? You were that. Oh, I remember that type of shit. I just want that stuff kind of done with, and we're not overly opinionated on where we want the finals or the you know, the playoffs or the setup to be over here. I just want one to be put in place. Let's fucking stay with it and have some fun. I'm having fun with this one, but that's just because I don't know any better. I'm a fucking infant. So maybe the next one that comes along is going to be, you know, partially better, and then the next one after that exponentially. But just get me to the one where I can just sit down and enjoy it and not hear so many cunts complaining. So an all Chevy Final Four with Kvapil, Love, Allgaier, and Connor Zilic, which I think is kind of interesting. Brandon Jones, Sam Mayer, Sheldon Creed, and Sammy Smith were all eliminated from title contention this week. But there was a lot of smoke in the Xfinity race, so I'm going to talk about it with I'll start with the one that we don't know too much about, but Shane Gray suspended indefinitely from NASCAR. Shane Gray, this is what I think it is now. And we're recording this on Wednesday morning. So things have just come out, so perhaps stuff will change. But as far as I know, Shane Gray is a former NHRA stock driver now working as a spotter for his son in the Joe Gibbs racing team, and he drew the suspension for a behavioral violation under some section of the member code of conduct. Everyone online, and they love to spread around rumors, so I'm putting this out there with a Spidey scoop score of C+, B-, said that the gentleman was trying to get out there maybe to celebrate with his son, and he had pushed some NASCAR official out of the way. And for that, he got an indefinite suspension. This is a cool fucking headline. I don't know what indefinite means, and no one's going to go and check up on it. Like, I don't know when Ricky Stenhouse's dad was allowed back on the track, but I think he got an indefinite suspension after the melee with Kyle Busch. I don't know how long that fucking lasted, but it's one of those ones where NASCAR can say, oh yeah, he can come back next year. But I think it's a cool thing for Xfinity because we kind of like the smoke, and it gave us so much fucking smoke with Sam Mayer. Sam Mayer, running in the Xfinity race, him and Jeb Burton get into it a little bit, and then the kid just lost his mind after the checkered flag in the cool-down lap, and he sent fucking Jeb into the wall, which is a huge fucking no-no from a NASCAR safety perspective. Like, once the race is ended, you shouldn't have to brace yourself for potentially hitting a safer barrier after being driven through by somebody else. So they're going to suspend Sam Mayer for the Phoenix race. So I think that's the one that we can talk about because the other one isn't decided yet. We don't know anything around exactly what had gone on with Shane Gray. But what do you guys think? What do you guys think of the Sam Mayer punishment? What do you think about what Sam had said afterwards? He doesn't have the it factor. He has the shit factor. What do you think about Sam Mayer being, I think Justin Allgaier went over to talk to him about it, and he said, like, them's the breaks or something like that. Sam Mayer was on some shit this weekend. How do we feel about how he reacted, and then how do we feel about how NASCAR reacted afterwards?
I thought it was really dumb by Sam Mayer. Obviously, that's probably easy to say looking back at the clip. It's pretty egregious. To me, it's just a foolish thing to do after the checkered flag. Like, if you want to show your displeasure with someone after the checkered flag, go and speak with them or, even, like, fight.
Throw a punch.
Don't weaponize. I shouldn't say that. That kind of an extreme word. But, like, he intentionally wrecked him. I just think that's a little insane. As you said, Large, the cool-down laps, kind of when people expect not to be wrecked, and they're not bracing for something like this or prepared for something like this. So, yeah, I think it was a dumb move by Sam Mayer. I agree with NASCAR's decision. To me, you have to park him. And Sam, sure, yeah, I heard what he said in the post-race, and he, stopped himself before he talked shit on Jeb Burton. To me, it would have been better if he just talked the shit on Jeb Burton instead of just wrecked him. You have a platform after the race to express your displeasure with someone. You don't have to do it in such an egregious way like we saw wrecking someone on a cool-down lap. So, yeah, I think it was really dumb by Sam Mayer. I think NASCAR handled it appropriately, and I don't know. What happened to just, fighting or talking to someone?
Or even bumping. Just give him a little bump, maybe, something that probably wouldn't be as egregious as that. Moonhead, you're always down for the shit. You like to be in the fucking mud with this stuff. Was this way too far? And did NASCAR overreact, underreact, or did they perfectly nail it with that one race suspension?
I think obviously what Sam did was wrong. That said, I've seen people spin each other out after the race countless times and not get suspended. So yeah, he drove him down in there. This is another moment where I think everybody wants consistency. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, it falls on Sam for doing it. I think he had reason to be mad. I think Jeb put him in a bad spot, wrecking him at Dega. And then also they tangled throughout the race at Martinsville. And Sam didn't feel like he got the respect he felt like he deserved as a playoff guy. But at the same time, you can't just lose your mind and crash somebody after the race, especially from a smaller team. I think Jordan Anderson, out of all that, Jeb can kind of be a head case. Sam's obviously got his temper. The person I feel bad for the most is Jordan Anderson, because that's his race car that got tore up after the race for really no reason. And to me, that's the biggest crime or
Well,
issue with all of this.
Sam kind of said it himself. He said in this post race that he apologized that he did that to Jordan Anderson Racing. He was not apologetic to Jeb. But my point is, he's self-aware enough to know, and he even said that he regretted doing it, which I don't know. I didn't know what to make of it, because part of me didn't believe that when he's like stopping himself from going on a tangent about shitting on Jeb Burton to just going to thanking his crew immediately. So it's hard to tell. But yeah, I mean, it's clear that Sam Mayer has respect for Jordan Anderson and felt bad for wrecking his equipment. But the disconnect with Jeb Burton, for whatever reason, needs to be worked out. And I don't think that this was the best way to do it.
I think a fine or maybe even points, because from 5th on down, they're battling the rest of the way through the playoff grid, basically, for points going into Phoenix, and that could be huge for the team. So I think loss of points and maybe some probation for next year and a fine would have done good. But
Yeah.
making him sit, obviously, I guess that works too. And to me, I'm with you, Spider. I'd like to see them just confront each other with it. But then again, we saw Sam Mayer and Ty Gibbs kind of beat up Sam Mayer when those two got in each other's face a few years ago. So maybe he thought the best move was to wreck him.
Is this a dumb take for me to say that he should have just wrecked him during the race? Would that have been better? I don't know.
My problem is he could just ship him into turn. As long as you don't right rear somebody these days, it seems to be fair game still. So if he wrecks him the same exact way a lap sooner, is that better in NASCAR's eyes? You know what I mean? Like, that's where I'm kind of torn on it, because it wasn't like he wrecked him coming into the pits. Like, he wrecked him just past the start finish line going into 1. So I'm not saying it's right before people come at me. He definitely deserved to get in trouble. I just think we're acting like this is a way bigger deal, in my opinion, than I've seen people do way, way worse and walk away from it with nothing.
I think that, the suspension in Phoenix, and a lot of people comment, more vacation time and whatnot. Maybe there's some truth to that, but I doubt it. The person that I think is not being taken into consideration with all of this is, as you guys had mentioned, Jordan Anderson. Like, I would rather see than Haas factory have to pay for the damages to Jordan Anderson's car, because that's really the person who gets hurt the most, and the punishment does nothing for Jordan Anderson. And from all accounts, that guy seems like a fucking gem. Like, he's very respected in and around the garage, and walking over to Sam afterwards, he did change his tune. I don't know if part of Sam's comments after he lost his mind were trying to protect himself from the discipline that he's going to be getting from Haas and whatnot. But I think the person that doesn't get any kind of pound of flesh from this is like Jordan Anderson. So I would say let the kid fucking run in Phoenix. Maybe give him some sort of double secret probation or something, but also have somebody else on the Sam Mayer side come out of pocket so Jordan Anderson didn't get fucked like he got fucked. Yeah, is that something that's fair to say too?
I mean, sure, in a perfect world, but that's just incredibly unrealistic.
It is, I guess, right?
Imagine if Spire had to pay for every single time Corey LaJoie caused the fucking big one at the, or like, I don't know. There's so many instances.
No, I can see it's tough to itemize bills. Hey, listen, you did $100,000 worth of damage to Brad K. Cut a check. I totally get that, but a lot of times those things aren't purposeful. Like, this was something that they felt was against their code and everything, particularly after the race had ended. Like, this is one where you can get a little bit creative and try to fuck them a little bit where it hurts to punish him for what he did, and also make it a happy ending for the guys who got fucked. I don't know. I just think it's something to consider. Cup, it appears the engine issues suffered on Sunday by Denny Hamlin and Chase Briscoe were the result of a bad batch of valve springs. You alluded to it earlier in this conversation, Moonhead. I don't know what that's about. You had mentioned something, Spider, that you thought that perhaps they were just riding hard.
I think what could be happening is that Toyotas and they are literally testing and pushing their cars to the limit, seeing what all the cars are capable of ahead of the championship race. That, to me, is the only explanation you see with the mechanical failures for Chase, Denny, and Herbst. And, yeah, I don't know. I think that's really my only explanation for it. We haven't really – sure, we've seen, one-off mechanical failures with different stuff throughout the season, but nothing to this extent, this regular. So yeah, my only explanation is
it seems so coincidental.
it
Two guys
makes
locked
too
in.
much sense for them not to be trying new stuff behind the scenes. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know what that actually looks like. I'm not a mechanic. I'm not an engineer. But to me, it seems like that's had to be what happened.
I don't think there's much more to say about it, right? It just
Do you think I'm crazy for that take, Moonhead Large? What do you guys
No.
think?
no. I think they had the. I mean, that's the whole idea of being locked in. You could take chances and
Yeah.
push your engine a little bit further and all that. It seemed when I was watching the race and seeing those are the two guys that are out, I was like, that just took them out of the conversation for any race manipulation, right? They can't be accused of race manipulation if they're already back in the fucking garage. I didn't know what kind of conspiracy theory, but it did make me pull out the foil hat right away. I don't know there's much smoke there to be had, though. You agree with that, Moon?
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said earlier, it could hurt their momentum, but I also feel like they're not going to come out and say, oh, we were trying shit and that's why we had issues. So
Yeah.
they might be going into Phoenix with more confidence than they would have if they were trying it in Phoenix. So yeah, I think that's it could have been honestly best case scenario. It's a lot better to have those problems this past weekend, and like you said, Large, it took them out of any potential race manipulation
Right.
talks or anything. So
Which they said
really,
they were going to
they're-
come down hard on. Remember, like they were saying that we're going to be taking a real close look at this, particularly going into Martinsville. So it did kind of get them out of any kind of potential, I don't know, conspiracy with that. They couldn't manipulate a race from the garage. I mean, that's just the way it goes. Daniel Suarez almost manipulated the race because he drove like a fucking menace. Spires, it's crazy how, that new lineup for next year have no gelling since that announcement has been made. And Hocevar reminded me of Noah Gragson in that first Chicago street race. The only time I saw Hocevar during Martinsville was when he was, turned around.
Yeah,
It was a
backwards.
terrible fucking race from. So, and to the point where, Jeff Gordon, who I don't think you want shitting on you, shit all over Hocevar in the post-race interview. As much as he gave Byron the kudos for having a career performance, he went through and it was more than like a head shake. He was genuinely disappointed and wanted to make sure everyone knew that he thought Hocevar was driving like a fucking asshole. What's going on? Is it just one of those bad races? I mean, obviously it takes a long time for teammates to gel, but how do you guys feel about that cohesion as the new teammates Spire are about to go into an off season before they have to be in the same garage for the next 40 weeks starting in February of next year? How do you think the mojo is between Daniel Hocevar? You think this might neuter him a little bit the way that we talk about the Chastain neutering? And then McDowell is also,
I'd like to see McDowell play the veteran role
that'd be good.
and kind of mend the fences.
Mhm.
I will say, and I did say previously on the show, that I was not concerned about the chemistry, and now I am a little bit, at least a little bit more. But I think that's something that will come in time. I mean, although I don't know, I also look at, we've done interviews in the past, and it seemed like there might not have been the best team chemistry with teams like Front Row Motorsports, with Storehouse Racing. I'm granted they were kind of in unique circumstances as they were winding down their operation, but I don't know. I'm a little concerned, and I think they'll be fine. But yeah, I remain a little bit concerned, and hopefully this stuff stops happening. But if it continues at the rate it has been, it will actually become a real concern. But for now, it's not really a big deal.
Yeah, I think if I was anybody to take anything away from this, I think Hocevar is not having a good week. I know that guy seems like a penguin where everything kind of floats off or rolls off his back, but he's got to start taking some of this shit to heart because a lot of the veterans in the sport do shit on him relentlessly, more so than I see them do for other ones. Am I making that up, or is that something that you're noticing too, Moon?
No, definitely. We're kind of, I feel like a broken record, but yeah, I mean, it's the same thing with trucks. We saw him, a lot of the guys who had been around trucks a while felt the same way. And I think to an extent, it's a compliment because they care enough to say it. They know he's got talent. They know he's got speed. But I mean, yeah, when you're tangling twice with your future teammate and your current teammate and Jeff Gordon's talking about how many times you were wrecked in one day, it's probably time to reflect. And going back to your Spire point, I don't know that anything's really going to change because I feel like Hocevar kind of marches to the beat of his own drum already. Like, to me, it's always seemed like Haley and McDowell kind of were a lot closer, and Hocevar kind of did his own thing. And not even saying that that's a bad thing necessarily, but I could see a situation where Suarez and McDowell kind of gel, and Hocevar is kind of the odd man out, so to speak, throughout the season. So
I think
that'll
someone
be
will.
interesting.
I think somebody will set him down though and talk to him about, you know, the whole relationship between the Chevys and obviously your
The
relationship
Ross
with Hendrick
Chastain
and stuff.
conversation.
Yeah, the Ross.
I think
the Ross
it's
Chastain thing.
inevitable.
It is. I think. I hope it doesn't neuter him because I do like talking about him week in and week out. And perhaps he just had a fucking terrible race, but wasn't a banner week for the 77. All right, so we have a championship 4 set, and Ryan Blaney. Geez, he put on a hell of a fucking performance. It was a very good race, right? I mean, you guys are in agreement with me. I don't know what it got on Gluck's poll. I didn't see this week, but I really, really enjoyed fucking watching that. Even though Byron was dominating, to watch Blaney climb from 31st, all of a sudden take the lead late there, and then lose it on that move from Byron. I mean, Blaney's got to be fucking heartbroken. He was a class act afterwards, as always. But I think this championship 4 now, without anyone having anything to say about Fords or Penske's on flat tracks or at places like Phoenix, is now out of the conversation, and we can just watch 4 very good drivers race it out. Isn't this our best case scenario? Don't you think? No fucking Penske smoke, and the guys who are all up there are all multiple race winners who have great fucking resumes, with Briscoe maybe being the lightest or the weakest of the 4. But don't you think like we got a very good championship 4 this year?
Yeah, I think this is awesome. I think this is best case scenario, and I'm not trying to take a shot at the other series, but we talked about how concerned we would be if certain, hypotheticals were to happen in those series, whereas in the Cup Series, anything can happen. I'm going to be satisfied with it. You have Denny Hamlin, who's obviously in pursuit of his first championship. You have the Chase Briscoe storyline, transitioning to a new team, joining Toyota, exceeding expectations this season, now in the pursuit of a championship of his own. And then you have Larson, could he do it again? And then William Byron, the young kid, cut his teeth, iRacing, an accessible way everyone can do. Can he make it to the highest point? I don't know. I'm super enthralled by what the Cup level offering is for the championship 4, at least. I think this is best case scenario. We have someone for everyone. Whether you like cocky drivers, you can root for someone like Denny Hamlin, or if you're more humble, you got Chase Briscoe, William Byron kind of guys. Yeah, I'm excited. I think the only thing missing would be like the Fords, or if you're a Penske fan, but I'm not going to get ahead of myself. I'll share my opinion later on in the show.
I wish it was that if there was everybody, including a Penske guy there, would have been all kind of sunshine and rainbows. But I think from a coverage perspective, like you're talking about the storylines, even with Larson having those hardships in the middle of the year when he couldn't do the double, like all those things that they can bring up to try to create it. I don't think you would have had those headlines with Christopher Bell, for example. So having that heroic effort from William Byron, and 2-time Daytona 500 winner, and the whole thing with the NASCAR 25 and maybe even the Legos get involved. Byron is a good story. Chase Briscoe having twins when he's fucking unemployed, and then doing this sitting in a Legends car and outperforming what we had seen from the end of Truex's career, showing how much of a fucking step up. Great story. And then Denny writes itself. I don't see any gaps in that. Is there anything? Is there a driver that you would rather see from a coverage perspective? Like NASCAR's got to be fucking thrilled with this. Do you agree, Moonhead?
I do. I think the only question mark, I think maybe one of the guys, and I don't even know which one. Maybe Briscoe could be swapped with Bell from a performance perspective. But to your point, I think out of the 3 championship 4s we've got this weekend, I feel best about Cup. Like, I feel like any of those guys deserve it and had a championship year. So that, I guess, is the silver lining. We like to complain about the playoff format, but I will say in Cup, most years, not all years, but most years, I do think we end up with a champion that had a championship season.
Yeah, and I can't wait for it. And I don't know what next year is going to look like. I almost wish that they would have announced it prior to this, so we know what we're going to see next year. And perhaps NASCAR doesn't know exactly what they're going to do until we get these results. But I really wish we knew what the fuck we were going to have. And even if you look at the bottom of it, I brought this up to you last night at dinner, Spider. You got Larson and Byron versus Denny and Briscoe, right? You got your Hendrick versus JGR. Even if you look at the second tier of both of those shops, it would be Elliott and Bowman versus Gibbs and Bell. There's just so many fucking attractive matchups with the secondary and primary drivers in these monster shops. Even if you stretch that out to the Fords, Blaney and Logano are a 1-2 punch. Cindric and Berry are very good too underneath that. Like, there's so much talent in and around these three shops. I know I'm not saying anything that people don't already know, but I really am intrigued, and I'm really looking forward to the final this year than I have in years past. All right, let's take a look at some of the headlines that hit. All right, a couple of headlines. Bianchi is reporting that a settlement is near with NASCAR 2311 in front row. I looked through it. I'm starting to understand it a little bit more. And whatever the settlement is, it looks like NASCAR will have to make concessions, right? You're going to go after NASCAR. NASCAR is going to make some concessions. Whether or not these teams get everything they want, which they probably won't, remains to be seen. What's interesting to me, and I think it's just an opinion type thing, 2311 came after NASCAR in front row. So we'll just say 2311 came after NASCAR. And NASCAR had to answer back. And in the months since then, it has cost $100 million in legal fees. And I said this the first day. I'll never know who really wins this fucking case, but I know that the lawyers are going to be the fucking winners.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you'll never know who wins the case, but the lawyers are going to walk away with the winners. $100 million has been amassed in legal fees. Who do you think should pay that? Honestly, who do you think in this thing should pay that $100 million? Spider.
Oh, this is tough. You guys aren't gonna like my answer. I'm going to say split it down the fucking middle.
It might be the only answer.
50-50. They brought themselves into this. Both sides seem to be annoying and extra at certain times from the little that I could comprehend about what was going on. From the NASCAR fans' perspective, this shit was a headache. This was annoying. If I have one wish for next year, it's that this fucking lawsuit is settled or resolved or done or dead. I'm tired of pretending like I know what's going on. I'm tired of talking about it. It's a dark cloud hanging over the fucking sport. That being said, they should both have to be responsible. No one other than themselves knew what was going on, comprehended, cared to the extent that they did, at least in my opinion. We all want NASCAR to be better. To me, this was a distraction. I don't know that we're going to come away from this seeing it substantially better. I hope I'm wrong, but I think both parties in this case were at fault. And I think that's evidenced by even the judge at certain points saying, like, if this goes to trial, it's going to be really, really messy for you guys. And again, I don't know shit. I'm speaking out of my ass for the most part, but I'm tired of talking about this fucking lawsuit.
But Boone, who should pay the $100 million?
Man, I don't want to see any teams, hit with any more money than they already have to spend. So I think it should be NASCAR's problem. I think that I don't think it had to get to this point, and I think NASCAR shoulders a lot of the blame for that, in my opinion. Obviously, I'm speaking out of my ass as well. I don't know how talks and negotiations go. But in my opinion, I think it's a pretty bold move for Denny Hamlin and Michael Jordan to feel like their only course of action was to take NASCAR to court. And I feel like this could have probably been handled better on both ends. But in my opinion, it starts with the sanctioning body. And they need to look out for the teams. And the teams are really ultimately what keep it afloat. We talk about the fans, we talk about TV, but without the teams who are employing all the people who, work on the cars and travel and stay away from their families and do all of the stuff that keeps NASCAR going and gives us a show every weekend, to me, I think NASCAR shoulders a lot of the blame, regardless of the findings of the lawsuit and whose side, who's right in the argument itself. I don't think it needed to get to this point, and I feel like for Denny and Michael Jordan, as well as front row, to feel as strongly as they have and to still be fighting as of now. I think, I think they feel pretty strongly that they have a case. And in my opinion, like I said, I think ultimately NASCAR probably could have handled some things better and it not let it get to this point.
So then we have Spider saying that it should go down the middle 50-50 since both guys were going after each other and whatnot. Moon saying that the sanctioning body, which this is all based around, every one of these arguments should be the one that pays it. I'm going to say something totally different. I think Sam Mayer should fucking pay it. Fuck it. Let him race in Phoenix. No, but I do think that, closer to the 50-50 argument, fuck Michael Jordan. I think that, him and his guys thought that they could do something with this. In order to do it, I think, honestly, it should cost them a little bit of money. And I believe that, we have this TV contract with NASCAR going through, I think, 6 years, till 2031. And then they're going to renegotiate getting some more of that TV revenue from the teams. They're going to make some concessions on the worth of the charters, all that kind of important stuff that they've been talking about. So if NASCAR does move and concede and make all those concessions, then to get hit with $100 million bill, which might not be a lot of money to NASCAR, but still, maybe that's going to be the point that pushes this over the edge, and the teams will be like, all right, and you're also going to take care of all the legal shit, and then maybe this gets this done, and then I'll be like, sure, anybody fucking, have the Saudis come in to pay it. I don't give a fuck. Just get this stuff off of our plate, because I would like to move forward at this time, which I think we all feel that way. So Spider says 50-50. Moonhead says give the whole thing to NASCAR. And I say not only not give the whole thing to NASCAR 50-50, maybe give a little bit more to fucking Jordan and go 730. I love Denny Hamlin. Like, Denny's the fucking, I don't know, he's my guy, but I hate Michael Jordan.
Denny and MJ had to know that they were going to be drowning themselves in legal money. Like, the longer this went on, they just racked up a lawyer bill, billable hours, and now it's an insane amount. But part of me thinks they had to be self-aware and smart enough to know that this was going to be the case.
Spider, I think the reason that I'm doing this whole thing without knowing much about what the settlement is that I was shocked to see $100 million in legal fees in the couple of months that we've had to deal with this.
Yeah.
I thought that was a very big fucking number, and maybe I'm being, ignorant or whatever, but that seems like a very big number to me.
How long has this been going on? Like almost a year at this point, right?
Yeah, I guess it's for the season.
Weren't we talking about this prior to Daytona? Like, will they be chartered, etc.?
Yeah, I mean, but it's been going on for, less than a year.
Yeah.
And $100 million in legal bills in less than a year seems like a fucking lot to me.
We should have been lawyers, Lars.
Yeah, we should have been. I was almost a lawyer. All right, Caller Grayson will pause its Xfinity Series program for the 2026 season because they're going to go with, I don't know, both feet. They're jumping in both feet into what they're doing with the Craftsman Truck Series and being the face of Dodge Ram. So since debuting in the Xfinity Series full-time in 2016, Kaulig has won 27 races in 10 seasons, including a pair of regular season championships from A.J. Allmendinger in 21 and 22. So they're going to transition to the Truck Series, running 5 full-time trucks with Ram. Butterbean Queen was the first and only driver announced so far until today. Today, Kaulig announced that 2 more additions to its 26 roster will include Daniel Dye, who's making the move from the team's truck program, and former team veteran Justin Haley will make a welcome return under the Ram banner. So I did say pause because if Ram moves up to the Cup Series in future years, which they're expecting to do, that expectation is that Kaulig will eventually return to what will be the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series in a couple of years' times. So we know where Dye is going. Where does that leave 24-year-old Christian Eckes? I don't know if that's one of those things where people already know that, but how do you guys feel about Kaulig now saying we're going just about all in with this whole Ram thing in the trucks, and we're taking away our Xfinity program?
I mean, it probably is smart in the long run if you think about it, because you're going to want to be one of the top teams with a new manufacturer. If you're early there, they could give you, all the resources, potential, and you could theoretically be the best team with new equipment. So, yeah, I think it's a good place to be. And the Daniel Dye thing, to me, makes so much sense. I feel like this has been in the works a long, long time. I saw Daniel Dye at Daytona. I believe it was this year at the Daytona 500, and he drove by me in the infield driving one of the Dodge like EV Chargers or whatever, the Charger EV Daytona. And I was like, that's weird. Why is he driving that? And now he's driving for them on the track too. So it all makes sense. I think this was long in the works, and I think it'll be good long term. I don't know what that means in the short term for some of these drivers or the reaction to the move, but I do think in the long term it will be good.
How do you feel about it?
I think it'll be interesting. One, I want to see what happens with the paused Xfinity program.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if that means someone else will be using that equipment and whatnot. But to me, the biggest thing is that they're using the word pause. To me, that kind of, the writing seems to be on the wall that Dodge isn't messing around and doesn't plan on just being a truck series manufacturer when it's all said and done. So to me, I think that's cool. This is the closest I feel like we've been. We hear rumors all the time. For years, it was Honda was coming to NASCAR, Dodge is coming back, this, that, and the other. Now it's actually happening, and I think them, like I said, using the word pause, that's a very good sign if you want more manufacturers in all three of the top series.
Yeah, I think it's kind of, the whole pause thing is cool too. I don't know. It seems like you need to show Ram that you're all in on this shit. So reallocating resources like they're doing is saying, you know what, we're fully involved. Like, there is no better way, because they can't pull out of the Cup Series, so they can pause that. I think that's probably the best way to show Ram that they are fully committed to trying to build that program with 5 drivers into something that's going to be substantial and can then carry through to different series. And I got to be honest, as much as we're complaining about, the Lane Riggs situation and Corey Heim if he doesn't win, Kaulig also sees that you can get a couple of guys in the playoffs without winning a fucking race. I mean, they must be pretty excited about that, at least underneath the playoff system that we had this year. Let's talk about a couple of drivers. I wrote down Briscoe's the best. It winds up Briscoe is the second best, and I'll get to that in a second. But for people who don't go on NASCAR Reddit, I'm not saying to go on Reddit at all, because it can be the end of the fucking earth. But Briscoe got on there and was like, hey, I'm Chase Briscoe. I'm what do you say, like a steering wheel test driver or something?
I'm a pedal operator and steering wheel tester.
And he didn't ask me anything. And I know people sometimes do that on Reddit, under a fake name and stuff. Hey, this is that. Briscoe is such a breath of fresh air. And I probably should have mentioned this at the beginning of the show. It was so nice for him to come in during the playoffs, spend some time with us last week. We really like that. For example, we had asked Austin Hill to come on this week. I'm still waiting to hear back from his people. So it's very easy to say no to a lot of these requests for interviews, particularly at this time of year. Not only is Briscoe like coming on here and shooting the shit with us, some of the clips we put out last week were downright funny. Him saying, yeah, I'd sign that petition to get SVG out. Oh, and I'm not going to cut anyone's break. Maybe, James Small was. The guy is great. And I think I can't help but fucking root for him. And NASCAR had sent us a fucking DM. You got it too, asking who our picks are for the championship. And I couldn't wait to answer back. I love a Cinderella story. Give me Chase Briscoe. I'll dress up as Prince Charming and interview the guy. So I just want people to realize that Ryan Blaney is a great champion and a great figure for NASCAR. And Chase Elliott is the most popular driver. But I think Briscoe's demeanor and the way that he is with people, I think is going to make this guy a fucking special champion going forward.
He's the best. I mean, a lot of people don't like talking to media or doing interviews unless they're absolutely essential, and they'll come on and they'll say the right things and nothing else. They'll speak for their sponsors and answer all the questions very black and white. Chase is the kind of guy that spends his fucking free time on Reddit, on messaging boards with NASCAR fans. The amount of times I'm prepping for one of these shows or just trying to keep tabs on the sport, and I'll go on there and see what people are talking about, only to see him is like the top comment beneath there, like adding his perspective is really, really neat. And I think he's not to be taken for granted of. He's one of the best guys you'll meet in the garage, and he now has one of the best opportunities before him. So I think Large said it best. He's a really, really easy guy to root for, and we'll be super happy for him should he win or should it come in a couple years or whenever. But
how'd you meet your wife? Bumble? Like, honestly, he's giving fucking answers like that. I think that's so humanizing or whatever. Moonhead, from what you've seen from Chase Briscoe outside being a good guy, do you see him being a multi-champion before his season is over? Or am I just so fucking... Do I have a crush on him and I'm probably giving him more credit than he deserves?
No, I mean, he won at Stewart Haas when they were on the down, the decline. They weren't running all that well. And then he has made a transition to a new team and a new manufacturer seem pretty seamless. I know it wasn't, he didn't come right out of the gate winning, but to have the season he's had and to be in the championship if he doesn't get it this weekend, I have a hard time believing he doesn't get a few championships, honestly, before it's all said and done, especially with Gibbs. As long as they're firing on all cylinders, I think Chase Briscoe is one of the best raw talents in the Cup Series today.
And he doesn't bring a lot of money with him. Like, he's one of those right stories about a wheelman. He does have some money behind him now, which I think is great. But he's just a wheelman who's getting a very good shot, and I think he's going to make the most out of it. The reason I'd corrected myself and said that Briscoe is not the best is because I read another article on fucking Biffle, and Biffle's ad is up to his shit again. Greg Biffle, 500 career Cup starts, 19 wins, made a bunch of headlines during Hurricane Helena when he was going in and out with his helicopter in 2024, helping people out, like delivering satellite phones and water, and I think like evacuating people off the roof of their fucking houses. Whatever it was, Greg Biffle, absolute hero, and now he's doing the same thing. He's stepping up to help those in Jamaica and surrounding islands after Hurricane Melissa moved through the region. Is him. As Hurricane Melissa makes landfall, hoping that as many people are able to get to higher ground as possible, Biffle posted on Tuesday, we're trying to coordinate and explore all opportunities via sea and air for relief efforts as quickly as we can to the Caribbean. We have the large boat and landing craft on standby for deployment to possibly take supplies once we can get an update, and monitoring the situation like everyone and praying for all those who are affected. We say a lot of things where we give thoughts and prayers. Greg Biffle fires up his fucking boat and he fires up his helicopter, and he doesn't send thoughts and prayers. He sends like food and blankets. And I don't know. I have a lanyard that I wear whenever I go to the races with my hard card. I got that old school Biffle lanyard I got at one of those swap tents in Talladega, and people commenting all the time. He's the guy who took me on my first pace car ride around Daytona where he was doing like 130 in the Camry up against the fucking wall. Did you know when this guy was driving, I'll ask for your historical perspective, Moonhead, that Greg Biffle was this type of guy? Because he seems like a tremendous humanitarian on top of being somebody that was wildly popular in and around the garage.
Yeah, no disrespect to him, but he definitely got cooler, I feel like, after he retired. And I think a lot of that's just career focus. I think he was probably a very focused driver, and when he was a Cup driver, all he gave a shit about was driving Cup cars, and that's all we saw of him. Now that he's got more free time on his hands and we get to see his adventures, charitable stuff aside, like, the guy just looks like a good time. Like, when he's not rescuing people from natural disasters, he's partying on his boat or blowing stuff up or racing junk cars in his backyard. So yeah, I think all around, I mean, I did meet the guy once, but he's definitely somebody I'd like to be around, and really just seems like a good dude. I mean, he doesn't have to do what he does, and I don't know how much it costs to operate a helicopter and all the stuff he does, but I'd imagine it's not cheap for him to do what he does, and he's doing it. He doesn't have to do what he's doing. He has no tie, especially flying down to Jamaica or wherever he's at now. Like, he doesn't have any ties to down there. He could be doing a lot of different things with his time, and he's choosing to do that. So he seems like a very good guy by all accounts. So I never saw him that way, though, as a driver. I'll be honest. Like, he was a pretty bland, for a lack of a better word.
Was he
driver.
a scumbag?
No, I wouldn't say that.
Okay.
I mean, he just was there. I mean, he was he was easy to forget about if he wasn't winning, basically, in my opinion.
Spider, would you agree that is your favorite story about Greg Biffle my favorite story when you and I bumped into him in a place we didn't think we were going to see him? Remember that?
Well, that was a great story, too. Greg Biffle is, like you said, Moonhead, he seems like he's just got it all going on. He's a really cool dude, and I love what he's done post-race, whether it be the humanitarian efforts or even just the shit that he's interested in, whether it be racing with Cletus or doing flying helicopters or even like coming to a rough and rowdy boxing match, which is where Large and I saw him.
Spider has had the fucking camera. You know, Spider does everything. So he has a fucking handheld, huge camera that's doing the direct broadcast. He's the ringside cameraman, and I'm the ref. I was refereeing, I think it was midget girls. And so, which I think is funny because I got to get down on my knees when I have to lift up one of her hands. The dichotomy of our sizes just makes for good TV. And Spider has the camera. I'm about to do it. I'm kind of hanging out on the rope. Spider's like, there's Greg Biffle. And the first fucking row at Rough and Rowdy is just Biff hanging out. And so I'm always been under the impression he's the coolest guy in the fucking room.
He does seem. I will say, though, I don't know that that's my favorite story, Large. When we were in that pace car, one of us said, like, get real close to the wall. And I don't think you could fit a fucking piece of paper between us.
I had Casey Kane is married to a young lady. I believe they're married.
Long, yeah.
Amy Long. And it was me and Amy Long in the back seat. And so the G's or whatever pushed her up against me, which is in a good place to be, obviously. And no disrespect. She is a wonderful person. Wonderful. And a beautiful woman. But my point is, I let out this high-pitched, and I think Biff had thought that it was her, but it was the 6'5", 280 guy in the back that was scared to pieces. So you're right. Like, we've had certain run-ins with him. I don't know why we haven't had him on the show. I'm to blame for that. I've just been remiss going after fucking Austin Hill. So we'll fix that up next season.
Yeah, we'll have to get him on. And Frankie Muniz too. I know.
Yeah.
I promised the Frankie Muniz interview, and I don't think, unfortunately, it worked out this season, but we will have Frankie on, and that's a promise to you guys.
But Frankie doesn't come on before Biff because Frankie doesn't fucking chopper in any kind of supply as far as I know. So Malcolm in the Middle can take a fucking break. Kyle Busch, another guy that we kind of know about, made different headlines again. He's now suing Pacific Life Insurance because Kyle Busch and wife Samantha filed a lawsuit that claims losses of more than $8.5 million. After being misled into purchasing complex life insurance policies they were led to believe were safe retirement plans. The complaint accuses Pacific Life Insurance Company, one of the big boys, of misrepresenting Index Universal Life, IUL policies as tax-free retirement plans that would provide self-funding retirement income. They got fucked, and they lost $8.5 million. And so KFB and his wife Samantha are front and center on social and elsewhere going after the insurance company. His wife was at the White House, I believe, 2 weeks ago, signing some new legislation for like IVF. I mean, Kyle Busch is like, I'm asking Moonhead whether or not Biffle was this much of a fucking stud when he was driving. And now I'm telling you, Kyle Busch is a different man than what he was 5 years ago when he's driving to what he is now. He's political and he's fucking out there pushing the boner pills and all that kind of stuff with all this. Is this, in your mind, good or bad? Like, is he using his power for good? Because that's how I'm taking it. You know, the IVF stuff and going to the White House, which, by the way, Samantha caught a huge earful of shit because she was at a Trump White House. People are so fucking stupid. But either way, I kind of admire Kyle for being this transparent with some of the shit that he's going through. Like, he can't get a hard-on, so he takes a pill. He wants more IVF, so he goes to the fucking White House, and now he got fucked financially, and he's going to make a gigantic stink out of it and make sure people who aren't in his position with tens of millions of dollars don't get fucked out of their retirement as well. Kyle Busch is turning into something different. How do you feel about it?
I love it. I mean, I don't know enough about this. I think they should have probably sat down with someone like yourself that understands complex
right.
tax-free retirement plans or something like that.
Should have called me.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't know. I feel bad. Obviously, it sucks. And I think the video that I saw, Kyle Busch and his wife alluded to the fact that this happens to everyone. It happens to teachers and, people that might not be in a position where they'll lose up to $8.5 million. So really people from all walks of life. And I do think it's good what Kyle and Samantha have done outside of racing. Obviously, Kyle has, had a great career. Whether he's had success recently or not is another thing. But he's using his platform to speak about things that are important to him and his family. And I think that is incredibly wholesome and admirable. We've seen him support Samantha in her IVF efforts, and then now this as well. So it seems like we're in an era where Kyle Busch is focused on family and racing, and again, I think that's something that's relatable and honorable. And he's spending more time on efforts that revolve his family, whether it be racing Brexton or supporting Samantha and some of her humanitarian causes, and I think it's for the better. So good on Kyle Busch for using his platform for things that he feels passionate about.
He's even doing like the 6'7" thing. Like it's
no.
it's crazy. Did you see
Clip that, Jacob?
He is.
6'7".
He's doing the 6'7" thing on fucking social media and stuff now. It's a total transformation as far as I'm concerned. And is it because, I don't know, he's at the end of his career? Is it because he doesn't feel maybe he has it anymore? Or is it just, it seems like a change of life to me. Am I overstating that in your opinion, Moonhead?
No, not at all. I mean, this one really caught me off guard. It honestly makes me feel worse for him on the performance front over the last couple of seasons with RCR, because I can't imagine, going from the Gibbs contract and winning all the time to the RCR thing and then realizing you lost your ass on a life insurance scam.
$8.5 million. It's a lot of fucking money.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he's also, I think, too, Braxton has a lot to do with it. Right? Like, I think he's trying to set himself up to be outside of that villain role going forward. And I think, too, and probably the last thing to mention, he's wildly in love with his wife.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of nice to see, because perhaps from the outside, he seems like the man who would die alone, almost like too mean to ever settle down. But he's wildly in love with Samantha. I don't know. Everything that they're doing, I seem to be, except for that 6'7" bullshit, I think that it's one of those things that I'm in bed with now, more so than I was. When I'm more of a fan of him now than I was of him when he was winning a lot of races. If that makes any sense. All right, we only got one more to go, so let's look at Phoenix. The 2020, but before I do, I got to remind you one more time, Daytona 500, the 68th running of the Great American Race, Sunday, February 15th. I won't be able to pump this anymore, so you can watch the edge of your seat action as NASCAR's best battle for the biggest win of the year. Experience the roar, the energy, and the history at Daytona International Speedway. Enjoy concerts, fan zones, tailgates, and access to the heart of the action all weekend long. Don't miss your chance to be part of the most iconic racing event of the year. Honest to God, please, if you guys are thinking about going to Daytona, get your tickets and make all of your flights and all that shit very early, because it does pack up quick.
Come and see us.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll definitely be there. But we have a stacked championship weekend. The 6th and final consecutive year of the NASCAR championship races will be held at Phoenix Raceway. Obviously, next year we know we're going to be moving to Miami, and then it's supposed to be on a rotating basis with Las Vegas, Phoenix, and Miami being the three that they're looking to rotate to right now. Trucks are rolling off on Halloween, 7:30 p.m. on FS1. Or our guy, Stephen Parsons, is going to be behind the wheel.
Good luck to Stephen.
Yeah, he'll be in the Spire Motorsports number 7 Chevrolet Silverado. Xfinity, Saturday at 7:30 p.m. on the CW. We spoke about that matchup. And then finally, Cup Racing, 3 p.m. on Sunday on NBC. For the NASCAR Cup Series Championship race, it's race 36 of 36. It's playoff race 10 of 10, 312 laps on a 1-mile asphalt oval for a purse of $12.3 million. So this is the big one. We're going to Phoenix. We were supposed to go with Body Armor, obviously, with Blaney not making it to the championship 4. That derailed our plans to get to Phoenix as well, which is fine. But I enjoy going to Phoenix every time. It's a very nice track to go to. It's a beautiful, you turn around and you're looking at the mountains and whatnot.
Beautiful.
So I miss not going to it, but I can't wait to see when it does start to rotate to other tracks. Do you guys want to make some picks for the final race?
Yeah, let's do it. I'm happy to start.
Let me give a little ad read then to the place where we've place all of our bets. Every one of our NASCAR bets since the beginning of time have been done through DraftKings Sportsbook. And also, All your favorite NBA players are back, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, is the place to bet on NBA stars this season. Steph Curry drilling logo threes, Donovan Mitchell taking over, Cade Cunningham leading the next wave. With more markets open for more of the game, DraftKings, the #1 sportsbook for live betting, is live when others aren't. So you can bet quarters, player props, scoring runs, and more, all while the action unfolds. New customers bet just $5 and get 3 months of the NBA League Pass, plus score $300 if your bet wins, paid in bonus bets. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the code Rubbin. That's code Rubbin. Bet $5 and get 3 months of League Pass, plus get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Before we take a look at Spider's picks, it's interesting. Chase Briscoe is 5th in odds behind the 3 people he's racing against for the championship, plus Ryan Blaney. So Briscoe is the 5th longest odds, even though he's in the championship 4. You said you wanted to go first. What do you got there first, Spider?
Yeah, I'm going to be really chalky, and I hate to be chalky, so I'm going to start with the favorites in the lower series. Give me Corey Heim. Give me Connor Zilisch. Corey Heim is minus 200 to win the Truck Series championship. I'm going to do a little sprinkle on that. Connor Zilisch is plus 120 to win the Xfinity Series championship. I'm going to do a little sprinkle on that. And then on the Cup level on Saturday, I'm taking Denny Hamlin to lift the trophy. It's Denny's year. It's hashtag finally. Instead of the L's, they're going to be ones. Print the T-shirts. Trademark that design. But I like Denny to win the championship. I think it's finally his time. He's been running good, and I'm hopeful and optimistic that this is finally his year. However, I don't like him to win the race. I like him to win the championship, but a different driver will win this race. It's going to be a Ford driver. It's going to be a Penske driver. It's going to be a driver Large just mentioned, whose name is Ryan Blaney. I like Ryan Blaney plus 650 to win the race. Now, he's not in the championship. However, we've talked ad nauseum. Hopefully I used that correctly.
You did. You nailed it.
We've spoken ad nauseum about Penske's ability at Phoenix. Blaney on the outside in, obviously, as I said, not in the championship 4. I think he can steal this. We've seen it last year, 2 drivers celebrating at the conclusion of this race. One won the championship, one won the race. I think it'll be the same this year. Blaney wins the race. Denny wins the season-long NASCAR Cup Series championship. Those are my picks. What a ride it's been. Thank you so much to everyone who's backed any of our picks, rode with me on Pick 6, supported us, listened to the pod. We appreciate you guys. Thank you. Large, what do you got?
I love it. Moon, do you have something you want to go first?
So I like Spider's championship pick. I want to do a walk-off parlay with Corey Heim winning the race to win the championship, Justin Allgaier winning the Xfinity race to win the championship, and then Denny Hamlin winning the Cup race and winning the championship. Even though I'm kind of with Spider, I feel like this will be a year where, honestly, across the board, I could see the championship not winning, or the champion not winning the race.
It's sort of like we had seen with Blaney when Ross won, right? Phoenix that time.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm taking Justin Allgaier outright. He's paying plus 300. So I'm going to take Justin Allgaier to win Xfinity. No dig on Connor, but I think Little Gator obviously has a shot. I did a 3-pick parlay. I have Denny Hamlin with a top 3 finish, Kyle Larson with a top 5 finish, and Chase Briscoe with a top 10 finish, and that's paying plus 400.
Wow,
I don't mind that.
No,
right?
I might join you on that one.
If you go onto DraftKings, it's one of the highlighted bets when you go into NASCAR, so you can kind of see that doesn't have my name on it, but it's Denny top 3. Kyle Larson top 5 and Chase top 10. So I took that around plus 400. I'm taking Bubba Wallace plus money, plus 150 for a top 10 finish. I did another 3-pick parlay, all with head-to-heads. I have Ryan Blaney finishing better than Christopher Bell. I have Ross Chastain finishing better than Joey Logano. And I have William Byron finishing better than Kyle Larson. And that 3-leg is paying 590, so just about plus 600. So I grabbed that. And then I also grabbed Chase Briscoe plus 700 as the race winner. And that one I'm betting with my heart. We had spoke about it before we came on. When NASCAR had come to us and asked our picks, I was very happy saying Chase Briscoe. Even though I'd love to see Denny do it, I almost picked Denny because I think that Chase has other opportunities too. this might be Denny's last opportunity.
Right.
And I kind of hope that he gets it because I think it'd be a great storyline. I don't know.
That's
feel
why
good
I
for
made
Denny.
the picks I
Yeah.
made. I kind of picked with my heart. Like, to me, in my heart, Zilich and Heim deserve to win the championships, and then Denny, obviously, at this point, he deserves one. He's a rightful champion. So, yeah, it's kind of picked who I want to win. So it might not work out the best, but, yeah, I would love to see those picks come to fruition.
I had sent out something on my social. Somebody had sent me the Whelen modified schedule for next year. I want to get to one of those races next year.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're going to be able to do the Chili Bowl this year, but that's one of those things that obviously I would love to get to. So
I'll tell you what,
Go.
if we win the Briscoe raffle, we're going to be at the Chili Bowl.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Cheering on our car with my giant head on the front of it.
That's right. And then a tiny little picture of me on your lapel or something like that. So, I don't know. It's been a great season. Moonhead, we appreciate your help in week in, week out.
Yep.
Same goes for Quiggs. So, unfortunately, we lose when it comes to football season because Quiggs is an integral part of that franchise here at Barstool. And it's actually a very tough time for Jacob to help us out, too. So Jacob, the guy who's behind the ones and twos with us every week, has to basically run from another gig, do this, leave, come back during it, run to another gig right afterwards, and all the while making absolutely delicious fucking ice cream. So we can't thank Jacob enough. And that's it for us this season.
And also Colton Jones as well. Shout out Colton, who's helped us.
Colton.
Fuck
Colton's
Colton, but he's
guy.
great.
He
helped us with all of our vlogs and on-site
right.
content. So if you guys enjoyed that at any point, hats off to Colton. We enjoy it, and he's been great.
And
for
everyone
us.
who comes sees races with us. So we've already had indications of interest to go next year from KB. Just pulled me aside yesterday. Paul Bisonet from Spit and Chicklets. Him and Jens want to go to a race. So we got a bunch of good things in store for the following season. Thanks for sticking with us through all 40 weeks this year. And we'll see you next year outside of some social and some commentary on Rubbin' is Racing.
Peace.